Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. Every once in a while, I will get this reading bug, okay? I've always been a reader. From a very, very young age, read books. Like my mother is and always, right? Because I don't think that a teacher can ever stop being a teacher, right? My mother has always been a teacher. I remember when I was in kindergarten, she was teaching second grade, and I remember like going into the classroom and saying, oh my gosh, like these second graders have messy desks. Like I was always in like the older kids' business, right? And I read multiple books at a very young age, multi-chapter. Like I was always an avid reader. The first 4 years of my life, 3-ish, 4-ish, I don't know, only child. So I definitely had to entertain myself at times, all the time. And I've always just been like really good about going into my room and reading a book. And I think with everyone's like book talk, it has been, it's definitely been highlighted as something that everyone's kind of doing right now. It's trending, and I love it, okay? I love the content that everyone is putting on different social medias. Whether that is like TikTok, like book talk is what they call it, and it's in like Barnes and Noble, like under a little section, which I am so thankful for. Like, why wouldn't I want to know what the new popular books are instead of just like trying to scour the shelves for something good? I like a recommendation. And I feel like more than ever, I have been reading, okay? And it could be because it's winter time and, there's not much else to do. I've been focusing on like the little habits, the little being inside and soaking up, not having to go outside, not being in the sunshine. You gotta have the silver lining in the darkness, right? I would much rather be outside. And I do read books in the summertime. Don't get me wrong. I love to read books in the summertime, but I just find like I have more time to read in the winter time, especially January. This January has been the longest January ever. Like, I don't know why, but it feels like it has been going so slow. And I've had a lot of time to read. And I go in spurts, okay? Sometimes I'm listening to Audible and all I can do is listen to books and I will fly through like 3 books. Or I'm on like a podcast kick and I will listen to several podcasts like in a row, or I'll go back to like years prior to some of my favorite creators. I'm like, oh, like a 2021 episode, I'm gonna listen, and other times I'm really into the music and I think that's okay, to go in these little cycles of where we spend our time and where we spend our focus. And right now my focus has been a physical book, not Kindle, okay? I have the Kindle Unlimited, app on my phone. I like it to an extent. I think I have been missing like a physical book in my hands. I also think that the genre in the Kindle Unlimited, what they offer, what's actually available to you, is definitely a niche content. Like it's mostly rom-coms or like a very niche set of books. And I'm kind of tired of reading them, to be honest. Like I feel like each book is kind of the same. And I've read all the ones I kind of want to read at this point, and I needed something different. So recently I've downloaded Goodreads, okay? Several of my friends have been trying to get me on Goodreads, and I just haven't done it. I don't know. I finally bit the bullet. I got Goodreads, and I followed a couple people that don't have the same, like they haven't been reading the same books that I've been reading. And I think this is good because it's opening up my eyes to the other genres out there that kind of seem appealing. And on someone's like book haul or books to read or whatever, they listed out the book First Lie Wins. I was like, hey, like I'm gonna add that to my would like to read. And I was going through my books or whatever with my friend, and I was like, yeah, I want to read this one and this one and this one. And she goes, oh, I have that book on my shelf. Do you want to borrow it? And I was like, abso-freaking-lutely. This has been my first thriller in a long time. Personally, I kind of get spooked out, okay? Like, I don't want to watch a scary movie. I don't want to prime my brain for something that is going to make me scared. I'm reading for pleasure. I'm reading to expand my mind. I'm reading to get off my damn cell phone, right? Like, I want it to be like a very fulfilling act, okay? I don't want to be completely scared where I cannot go to bed, or it's creepy, like I think, oh, someone's gonna be looking through my window. No, that's not what I want. And I think this was the perfect book to like dip my toes back in. It was everything a good mystery should be. Twists that I did not even see coming. And I think this is like, and you might have read this book, and this is what I love about book reviews. I could have loved a book and you might hate the book, but it doesn't matter because we both read a book. Like, that's good. And I think varying opinions matter. And just because the book hit for me and it didn't hit for you, that's okay. We're allowed to have differences. We're allowed to think what we want, and it's open for interpretation. We both have different, lives and experiences, and something that might have really aligned with me might not have aligned with you. I just want to put that out there forever and always. I think that you should read the books that you want to read, and I want to read the books that I want to read, and I'm not judging you for that, right? Like, we're all in this together, okay? I am a fan. Everyone should read books. It expands your mind, expands your vocabulary. It's good. Now, for me, I love this book, and I think it was a really great way for me to kind of get back into reading genres other than like romance, okay? I have gotten so tired of romance, and it almost gives me like a little tinge of anxiety. And a romantic book should not feel this, but because I know that there's gonna be like a really big mess up, and then the couple, that are in love are gonna break up for a short amount of time, or at least the ones that I've been reading. It's like, okay, couple falls in love, and then couple is doing great, and then couple hits a snag, and it is blow up, drag out, like this is a horrible fight, and they don't talk, and then grand gesture. And then after the grand gesture, the book is over. Okay, and I was like anxiously awaiting the other shoe to drop, and it was not allowing me to immerse myself in the book properly. And I also would think, oh my gosh, like, I don't know, like the spicy scenes were getting too redundant. I would like glance over. I'd be like, all right, let's get through this. Like, give me something else. And I think that because this book was a different genre than what I have been reading, and it was just like a twist and a twist, and I wasn't expecting it. I love that because I feel that I've become a little bit complacent in the books that I've been reading, and it really wasn't giving me that like, oh, snappy feeling. The last romantic comedy book that I've read, honestly, it took me a really long time to get through it, and it's because I was like, oh, the other shoe's gonna drop, they're gonna break up, and then like I don't like conflict, and so then I was like, oh gosh, like this is so awkward for me, and I have to realize that I'm not the character. Okay, the character is allowed to live, laugh, love their own life in this book, and I don't have to absorb their humiliation. My life is not their life. And I do try to tell myself that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it does not. But I don't know. I love this book. I read it, in a short amount of time, much quicker than I read the previous book that was more of like a romantic book. I was like, oh, this is taking forever. And this book, The First Light Wins, was a bigger book, and I read it much quicker than the other one. So that just shows you that my attention was there, okay? And it does help that I had a very lazy Saturday to read it and just like really absorb it and love it. So I will admit, like, I had time to read it, so I read it pretty quickly. My stance is still, we are normalizing reading books at a regular pace. And just like I go through phases, I'm like, oh, I want to listen to a podcast, or I want to read a book, or I listen to Audible, or I'm really into TV shows right now, or going to the movies. Your like focus can change. And that does not make you a bad book reader. And you don't have to have a challenge of 250 books to be a part of the book community. And you don't have to read a book in a day to be a part of the book community. And you don't have to read just the smut books or the really smart books that are mystery that scare you shitless because you don't like those. Like, I think that we need to stop putting everyone in a box, let people read at their own pace, not stress it out, and, you know, everyone go at their own pace, okay? I'm all for it. And reading really does enhance your life. And even if it is like more of an easy read book, you still learn things. You're still absorbing situations, new words, and I'm here for it, okay? So I've been in my book reading era. I always have been a book reader. I've always read books, but I'm really feeling it right now. Like I've been munching through some books, right? Like I've been buying books, hardcover books, and not just like my Kindle books. I do need to probably visit the library soon. I personally can't keep buying books and then like shelving the books and holding on to the books, because then in my mind it's like a little bit of clutter. And there are some books that I have that I'm like, like I read it, it was okay, but like now I'm not interested. I need to figure out what the heck I'm gonna do with those books because they're just taking up space now. Let's get into my peak and my pit of the week. My peak of the week has been being a chatty, yappy girl, okay? I love to yap. I love to chat. I love to giggle and just gag with my girlfriends, okay? And this past week, I got to go to a fundraiser event with one of my very good friends, Madison, and she had gotten tickets to go with her and her husband. Her husband couldn't go. She texted me. She was like, hey, we've gone to this fundraiser before. Would you want to go to this fundraiser, you know, this Friday? And it was like Wednesday. I was like, absolutely. I would love to go to this fundraiser. So I got all dressed up, which is fun. Okay, I haven't worn like a nice dress in so long, but I got dressed, you know, I blow dried my hair. I was feeling real good. And I get there and immediately like the connection is so strong, right? Like when you haven't seen your friend for a while, there can be like some uneasiness of like, what are we going to talk about? Or like, are we going to pick up at the last space that we picked up on? Or what's going on in their life? Like, if you ever feel any sort of like uneasiness about that, like I'm there with you. It could be one of my very, very best friends. And I could almost have like a little bit of stage fright at first. I'm like, oh, like, is this a date? Like, come get to know me, right? And so Madison and I get to the event center and I see her and I'm like so excited, so happy. And I feel like our energy is just unmatched. And sometimes we can be a bit cackly. Like we could be laughing so hard and I definitely would hate us. Like I don't know, like it's just the jokes are hitting and we're having such a good time and we have so much to tell each other because again, we haven't hung out for a couple weeks. So I'm like, oh, did you hear about this? And what about this? And oh, did you watch this? And just yapping, okay? So we got to this event at like 6:30 and we were walking around and we should have been networking, okay? Honestly and truly, we should have been networking. We should have been trying to talk to people, meet new people, but I needed to catch up with my girl. I needed to talk, I needed to chat, I needed to do all the things. And we are just cracking each other up. We're sitting at a table basically by ourselves and we are just, I don't know, like it is truly something so special to be able to gab with your gals, to be able to chat, to be able to laugh so hard that you think that you're gonna pee yourself. Like, and also to have those inside jokes that only you guys know, or like referencing an event that you both did, or, you know, a situation you had, you know, the ones where it's like, oh my gosh, do you remember like when we went to this one thing back last August and it was so funny and it relates to the event that you're at currently? Those are the best times. And I personally, I'm talking on a microphone right now, oh my gosh. Talking on a microphone, I am a professional yapper. Okay, like I'm always trying to chat. I'm always trying to talk. This is why I have a podcast. This is why I do vlogs. Like I love to talk. And I feel like sometimes we don't get enough time to talk with our friends. We don't get enough time to just sit and gab and talk. Life has been so busy with the holidays, and in the wintertime, like hardly anybody wants to travel. Like, don't get me wrong, like I don't want to travel. I don't want to have to drive somewhere and accidentally, veer into the ditch because it's icy out or snowy or so cold. Like, that's not fun. And so I have been feeling a little bit of stir crazy, feeling a little like I need human connection. I need to go out. I need to talk. And I definitely had that itch get scratched this past week. And it was so fun. Oh my gosh, like you cannot replace the amount of just like happiness it comes, not small talk. Like I'm not talking small talk, because small talk is awkward when you are at an event and you don't know anybody there and you have to like chat with someone you've never chatted with before, maybe an acquaintance that you know them, but maybe you don't like know them that well. And you say, oh, how are you? How have been things? Right? Like everyone wants to ask that. And personally, like I talk a lot, right? Like I talk a lot and I love to hang out, on my podcast, you and me. But sometimes in social situations, I don't want to share everything I'm working on. Like I don't want to be like, oh my gosh, yeah, like this is what I'm doing, because that person might not deserve to know me like that, or they might interpret it in like a weird way. I don't know, like there's something to be said about like keeping your cards close to your chest, and I'm not going to get that deep with a stranger that I don't know and probably will never talk to again. So small talk is like really hard for me, and I absolutely do not enjoy it. But when you're chatting with your friend, when you are talking to someone you trust, someone you love, someone you have a little bit of history with or a lot of history with, it's just comfortable and an ease. I don't know. It's so much fun. It was definitely the highlight of my entire week to just be chatting with my girl, to be yapping away. I personally, Madison and I used to work together, and we just, I don't know. It's so easy to talk with her, and I know she feels the same way, okay? This isn't a one-sided girl crush, okay? But it's just like, even if it was a one-sided girl crush though, like I really love Madison. It is so fun to just talk and talk so fast and just like, personally, if I saw us giggling and cackling how we were, I would probably be like, I hate these girls. And that's your right, okay? But in the moment, it just felt so good, and my POV was pure bliss. So that was my peak of the week. Let's get into my pit. I don't know why this just hit me, but I was trying to recall the last vegetable I ate. That might seem a little concerning. Just think about the last vegetable you ate, okay? Think back. When was the last vegetable you ate? I have not gone grocery shopping for the last couple weeks. I don't know. We've had things around the house. Like we just haven't really needed to go shopping. Our freezer is full. We have, dry goods. We've been fine. We've been eating. But I have not had any vegetables in our house. And the other night we were cooking supper and we were having like steak and like sliced potatoes, fried potato, I don't know, some sort of potato. And I was looking at the plate. I was like, when was the last time I ate like a vegetable? Honestly and truly. Luckily we had some frozen broccoli in the freezer, and I pulled that out and I was like, when did I get to the point where a green juice might actually be good for me? Like the little like dry scoops of greens that you see on social media all over. I was like, when did that become something that I might actually need? Because I've not been getting any sort of whole vegetable in my diet. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So on my grocery list, we have some raw veggies, okay? Like I'm craving carrots, I'm craving broccoli, I am craving like some actual vegetables. And then I was even thinking, when was the last time we had fruit in our fridge? It definitely is winter, okay? We had pomegranates and oranges, and maybe pears actually, like maybe 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. But even then, like, we have not been consuming any whole fruit. And I was just like really, I don't know, taking a look at my diet. I eat a lot of dairy. I love dairy. It is my #1 top favorite. Okay, give me some whole milk and a latte. Give me some Greek yogurt, cheese. I don't know. I love dairy. It is my top favorite. And I was looking at I like the Wacos, like Greek yogurt with the protein in it. It's like extra protein. I don't know, 15 grams of protein in the little yogurt container. I was looking at those because I eat them all the time. I was like, you know, I need to dress this up some. I need to put some blueberries in it. I need to put some raspberries or something in it because I've been lacking like actual fruits and vegetables. And normally I don't have a problem with this. I normally get enough of this in, or I pick it up at the grocery store and I'm like, oh yeah, like that sounds so good. And I'm like, we need to get some cabbage up in here. We need to get some radishes or lettuce. Like, I can't even remember the last time I had a freaking salad. And I don't know if it's because it's wintertime and I just haven't been craving those things. And in the summertime, like, you have the farmers markets. I personally grow stuff in my own garden that I'm going out there and I'm picking. And I'm actually seriously concerned for myself because basically I have just been prioritizing protein, and some days I don't do a good job and I need to get like more protein in my diet. But I've been eating carbs, I've been eating dairy, like, and protein. Like, there's been no vegetables and no fruit. And 2 Christmases ago, I got a juicer. And I'm like, when was the last time I used my juicer? And this isn't like, oh, New Year's resolution, like, gotta eat healthier. I was like seriously concerned for myself. I was like, when was the last time you crunched on a carrot? And personally for me, I have always been the kid who ate the like big chunks of broccoli at the family gathering. I would always like get the broccoli, get the spicy radishes, the carrots. Like, that's what I would gravitate towards because it's so good. And those little trays where it's like, oh, you have the cut up vegetables and they're already cleaned. And sometimes like I did like the dip. Some of the dips, like the party dip, I didn't like ever. I went just like plain ranch. Okay, plain ranch to dip my vegetables in. I didn't really like hummus until I was an adult, but whenever it had like the kind of like spicy, tangy ranch dressing in there, I was always like, ooh, that's actually my least favorite. But I love a pre-portioned, like, I think maybe it's the thought of having to go buy the vegetables and pull the vegetables out and clean the vegetables and cut the vegetables, and produce goes bad. So if you're not prioritizing it, if you're not actually eating it, then it can feel wasteful because you're like, oh, forgot about those carrots and now they're all wet and weird. Honestly, that's one of my pet peeves. When carrots in the bag, like the water starts to like get the bottom of the bag and the carrots are just sitting in the carrot juice and it kind of makes them slimy. Ugh, that actually makes me want to vom. I always like pull the carrots out, rinse the carrots as soon as I buy the bag, and then I put them in like a little storage container with a paper towel at the bottom to absorb any excess liquid. I like a dry carrot, okay? And I don't know why the water just like pools up in the bag, and it always just reminds me of like rot. Ugh, it's so gross. But it's the thought of having to like prep all of these vegetables. Like, I have to bring them home and I have to wash them and cut them and store them in the fridge. And then on top of that, they could go bad. I could actually forget about the vegetables, and I don't want to waste money. I don't want to waste resources, and it's overwhelming. Okay, but honestly, I need to get over it, and I need to eat some vegetables because it's good for you. It's fiber, it's vitamins. Honestly, if we took like a panel of like what vitamins my body has been consuming lately, I don't think it's good. And that honestly could play a part, and I think it is, on my overall energy levels, because lately, and again, you know, it's winter, take it as you will. I'm allowed to be restful, but I honestly, like, if I drink a coffee and that's all I'm giving myself, like for the first couple of hours of the day, like no wonder I feel like crap. And I'm not saying I'm gonna eat carrots and celery for breakfast, but maybe a little red pepper in my eggs would be good for me. Or tomatoes. I love tomatoes and cottage cheese, and that is not something that I've eaten in so long, and that used to be like my hyper focus food. Like I ate that all summer long. So honestly, I'm just like taking inventory of the things that I've been eating and the things that I have not been eating and what has been missing out of my diet. And honestly, I'm ashamed. I feel like a 3-year-old toddler who like has not been eating proper suppers. Like it's been annoying me, and I need to do better. Like if I don't take care of myself, who is going to take care of me, right? Like I am a full-grown adult. I need to be eating vegetables like a regular person and incorporating them into meals. I think honestly, I've just become a little complacent in my meals that we make. Like we aren't really trying anything new. We aren't pushing the boundaries or recipes. Like we have several recipe books. I need to actually pull them down and open them up and start, I don't know, like reading some recipes and going shopping. And maybe it's because I have had a break this January. I haven't been doing anything really and truly. Like I've had a good time to just assess and relax and not really worry about running to this event or running to this family gathering or this, holiday supper. And maybe I'm starting to feel more energized. Maybe I'm feeling a little bit better about like my overall environment, and feeling better about like the things to look forward to. I don't know. I definitely think that I'm experiencing some sort of like January blues, to be honest. But I am slowly gaining some momentum, gaining it back a little bit. And hopefully, and I know that I won't feel this way forever, and like I'll be getting some energy back. Okay, so those are my peaks and my pets of this week. And something that has came along on social media that's kind of popular, it's like trending, maybe going viral. How do you feel about the Pookie videos? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, there is a couple, Jet and what is the girl's name? Oh my gosh. It's like a boy name. Oh my gosh. Campbell. Oh my gosh. Okay. Jet and Campbell, they are a couple, and Jet is like a Southern gentleman. And he calls his like wife Pookie, and everybody has been absolutely like dying over this. It's like it's on everyone's mouths, or it's the word of the week. It's the trending topic of this week. And honestly, like at first I thought it was a little cringe. I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't know, like it sounds like foreign in my mouth, like to say Pookie. Like that's not in my vocabulary. That's not something that I necessarily like say all the time, ever. I don't think I've ever said it except for this week. Like I was like, oh, Pookie looks absolutely fire today. And there is like people who have been hating on it. They're like, oh, that's so gross. Like, why would you talk like that? And honestly, like, I'm kind of liking it. Like, I kind of think it's sweet that he is just, I don't know, like, it's better than, like, babe. Everyone calls everyone babe. Like, oh, babe, babe. I don't know. I just think it's so cute. A lot of people think it's cringe, and I could see how you would think it would be cringe. But here's my thing. If you take Mean Girls, right? Mean Girls, the musical, has just came out. You know my thoughts, you know my feelings. If you don't, go listen to that podcast episode. But Mean Girls has the word fetch in it. And Tina Fey said that she made up the word fetch to go in Mean Girls because she didn't want it to be like an actual trending, like, oh, that's perf, or oh, totes, or, any of the other slang terms that we use. She added fetch to the Mean Girls universe or whatever. She's like, fetch, that's so fetch. And Regina gets mad at Gretchen and is like, stop trying to make fetch a word. Like, it's not gonna work. And you know what? People use fetch like unironically now, and they used to just be like, oh my gosh, like that's so fetch, like making fun of Gretchen trying to make fetch work, you know, like it was this whole thing. Hey, I hope that you're enjoying today's podcast episode. Just a quick interruption to let you know that Golden Hour Drip has a weekly newsletter that comes out. This has bonus content, weekly updates, and future event information. If you haven't already, go down to the show notes, click the link, and join today. Now, back to the show. Or if you take the book Friendle, I don't know if you ever read this, but I read this book back in middle school, and basically it talks about how this kid made up a word, Friendle, F-R-I-D-D-L-E, I think is how it was spelled, but he replaced the word pen, and instead of saying, oh, can I borrow your pen? He would say, oh, can I have that Friddle, or whatever, Friedel? I don't know how you would pronounce it. And then like he changed the name in the dictionary by the end of the book, okay? This just goes to show the power of trends and the power of, okay, you might have like said it, you know, haha, we're making fun of it, like, oh, that is so fetch, or that is so perf, or totes kabotes, or like any of these, or Paris Hilton, what does she say? She goes, oh, that's hot, you know? There is so many iconic verbiage that is used at first, like very, oh, ha ha ha, like making fun of it. And then we start using it. Like we start actually, like hot girl walks. Like that wasn't a thing. Like when I was in middle school, there was no such thing. I don't know. Like I think that because Pookie has been like, you know, at first we're like, oh, that's like so cringe. We're watching this man call his, you know, wife Pookie as in like a little dog. Like to me, Pookie, like when I first thought of it, I'm like, okay, that's like an old lady with her little like fluffy dog. And she's like, oh, Pookie, you know, like something cute. But he is using it as like a term of endearment for his wife, and like people might be making fun of it now, but I really do think that it's going to become a term that we're going to be using, okay? And it might not be, okay? This trending thing might be like so hot and cold, right? Like it's really hot this week, but it'll turn cold. But honestly, like, I don't know, like and of course nothing is coming to me right now, but like, oh, thick, like, oh, so thick with like 3 C's. That was like really, you know, big when I was in college. You know, people are like, oh, that's thick, THICCC. There's so, or like, oh my gosh, I literally cannot think. There's so, on fleek, like eyebrows, like, oh, your eyebrows are on fleek. You use it at first to like kind of make fun of it, oh, like fleeky, and then like you start not using it ironically. You're like, oh, like that's how you describe that item. And I really think that this is going to be common knowledge or common vocabulary that people are going to actually like start using. I don't know, like will significant other men, like will they at first feel comfortable? Probably not. Like, I don't think Pookie is going to be a word that men necessarily use, but I can see like girls commenting on other girls' looks, like on Instagram, being like, Pookie looks fire today. You know, like I could see that as being something I could write, you know, like, ooh, Pookie looks so cute, or that's my Pookie. I don't know. Like, I really think that this trend is gonna stay. Like this word, this like little vocab of the week is definitely like, we're gonna see it. I think it's here to stay. And seriously, I saw like one the first TikTok that I saw, it was like texting. It's like, hey, do you think that you could ever call me Pookie like in a like regular verbiage? And if the guy on like Tinder or Hinge was like, yeah, they like changed it to the love theme, or if like they were like, no, honestly I don't, they would like block the person. That's where I first saw it. And then like after that I saw like a video, and now my feed is completely all of this like Pookie stuff. I'm like, okay, Pookie looks fire today. Like Pookie is gabbing. Pookie, I really think that's gonna stick around. I could be wrong, but I think it's gonna be here for a while. And speaking of being here for a while, here for the right reasons. You guys know that I did a Bachelor recap this past Friday. Okay, the first episode aired on Monday. And something that I forgot to mention when I was with Madison is while we were at the fundraiser and we were chatting, it was brought up. I was like, oh, like, have you seen The Bachelor yet? And Madison is a Bachelor watcher, and we immediately like pulled out my phone. We were looking at all of the girls. We had the roster and we were going through each one. Which one did we like? Personally, I like Allison, the little sister, and I like Taylor. I forgot if she's like a social worker or if she's a recruiter. She was wearing the cutest little green like pantsuit. It was so cute. I love green. As you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, I'm wearing a very vibrant green top. I think it's cute, okay? It's very soft, very silky, very spring. I'm here for the spring. Like I said, I'm over January. But she, like during the like first night, was wearing the cutest little jumpsuit. Love. Loved it. Okay. And honestly, like we had such a good time like talking about it. I forgot to say that The Bachelor, we are having like a little gals like get together this upcoming Monday. And I forgot how much I actually love to talk about The Bachelor. And I've said many times before, like I am not a football girl. Like I understand the game. I was a football manager in high school. I like to watch to an extent, but I don't know all the players, okay? And I don't know everything, and that's not something that interests me to make me even want to sit down and learn some more. But I can see how men would like to watch football to have something to talk about with their friends, because that's how I feel about The Bachelor. Like, I feel like when I watch The Bachelor or The Bachelorette, it gives me something to root for. It gives me something to focus on. And it's like a common topic that most people can like talk about. I don't know, like it's something that unites us almost. And I know some people don't like The Bachelor, and there's definitely been times like the last Clayton season I did not watch. I did not watch Charity season. I barely got through the Golden Bachelor. I barely, finished Bachelor in Paradise. Don't get me wrong. Like there has been some times where I'm like, I am not sure if I can continue. But as I was talking to Madison, I was like, oh my gosh, I actually love this. And this past week, Kennedy, one of my very good friends, threw a little girls' night, and we did diamond painting. If you don't know what diamond painting is, it's basically sequins, okay? That's the best way that I can describe it, or rhinestones. It's like a rhinestone, okay? And you get a little bit of wax on this tool, and you pick up gemstones and you paste them as like a paint by numbers on a design, okay? Like you buy it and it's like, oh, all the J's are a cream pink, and then you put like the little gemstone on all of the little ones. It is focused, okay? It's definitely like, it's artwork, okay? You could hang it up in your house or whatever. But we were doing this diamond painting at her girls' night, and I brought it up. I was like, hey, does anybody watch The Bachelor? You want to talk about it? Like, and at that time, like only one person had watched it. And she's like, I actually watched it because I had brought it up before. Again, like we went to a yoga class, and I was like, are you guys gonna watch The Bachelor? And she was like, no, we don't. And I was like, oh, like I was gonna watch it if you guys want to talk about it, like have this shared interest, okay? And one of the girls, she was so sweet, her name is Hannah, and she was like, yeah, like I did watch it because you said that you were gonna watch it. I wanted to like chat with you about it. I was like, oh my gosh, like is this how men feel like talking about football? Because it like unites them and gives them something to root for. I think so. Like I'm not a man, but I was like, this actually makes a lot of sense. Like it's community. It's like, oh, which girl do you like? Which girl do you not like, right? Because you gotta have favorites. Their personalities. I realize that some are like playing into like certain characteristics or personality traits of themselves. You know, if they're a little bit gossipy, like leaning into the gossip part. I know they're not characters, and they are real people. But you know, like just chatting with your friends, that is totally fine. Okay, hating and like posting mean comments on someone's like post, like, oh, you were terrible in The Bachelor, I hated your personality, like, okay, that's rude. Okay, but I do think like discussion with your girls, harmless fun, so good. And this upcoming Monday, we're actually having a watch party, which I have not had a watch party in so long, since college. Okay, I was sisterhood chairman and we had like batch Mondays, so good. And having a group of gals in a viewing room, like we're all together, we're all chatting, we're all talking. And as I look forward to this this viewing party on Monday, I'm like, oh, this is kind of like a football game. Like you go to the bar to watch the football game and you get together with your friends and you talk about the game. I don't know, like it honestly, like it's kind of clicking in my head. I'm like, oh, okay. So I personally, I've been enjoying The Bachelor. I watched the first episode. You know, I am rooting for a couple girls, but I really don't know their personalities yet. Like I am looking forward to learning more about them, learning more about their likes and dislikes, and having something to chat about with the girls. It's like a book club, right? Like you read a book and then you chat about the book afterwards. It's a movie review. It's a show review. It's getting together, rooting for different or same people to fall in love and be there for the right reasons. I'm here for it. We'll see if I watch the whole season. But right now I'm definitely pro Bachelor and I am pro watching the Bachelor franchise. And maybe it's because I've been wanting to get out and wanting to just like connect with people and get outside my comfort zone a little bit. I went to a Kansas City Cuisine Club event this past weekend, and Hannah through it, she's one of my very good friends, and she has this club where she picks different restaurants to try in Kansas City, and you go to the it's once a month, right? And you go to the event and you meet new people and you eat delicious food. So we went to an event, and as I was talking to the girls there, it's like everybody is feeling the same way. January is dragging on. January is not feeling good to everyone. We're tired, we're exhausted. And I thought I was the only one. I was like kicking myself and thinking, why aren't you feeling motivated? Like there are so many things that I could be doing, like so many things on my list. Like I do have intentions, I do have goals for this upcoming year. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I kind of probably needs to be like working towards them. I've been feeling extra sleepy. My sleep schedule has been like completely messed up. I've been staying up super late and like waking up kind of late, and that is not usual for me. That's not something that I'm usually doing. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like is it the weather? Is it how long the days are? Winter solstice is finally over. Like I think that day was in like December something. So the days are starting to get longer, which I'm so happy for. I love that. But I've kind of been like kicking myself. I'm like, you should feel more motivated. You should be more on top of it. You should be like on. And I've been trying to be gentle with myself and say, hey, like it's okay if you're not feeling it. Like your energy will come. Like when you are ready to get like this work done or ready to, execute, you're going to be able to like stop freaking out for no reason. And as I was, chatting with the gals, as I was, at this little event, it was so nice to hear that other people, their routines are completely whacked. Okay. I love to hear that. I was talking to this one gal and she was like, oh my gosh, like I have just felt like my work day and like day after day has just been a blur. It's been the same thing. I wake up, go to work, come home, watch some TV and go to bed. I'm like, man, I kind of like feel that to my bones. Like I have just been in a hamster wheel of like getting up, doing what needs to be done, right? Like getting my work done. But I'm trying to incorporate fun. Like I wouldn't say that it's been a measurable time, but until this week, I really haven't had that like cackling energy. I haven't had that like just fun of doing whatever and chatting with my friends. And I feel like when you get around people, or maybe this is just me, the right people, okay, having that like energy of, oh my gosh, like just bouncing off one another and feeling really, really good, that is contagious. And I feel like energy creates energy. And when you're feeling really good, like it's easy to keep the ball rolling, and it's easy to be like, oh yeah, that's so good. Or when I get home, I'm gonna do this. Or I'm feeling so inspired by this, I want to like go out and do something along those lines as well. And so I personally, like, it was good to like chat about it and kind of get it out in the open. Like, you're feeling tired, I'm also feeling a little tired. Like, maybe it's not just us, like we're not going crazy. And then more and more girls around the table were like, oh my gosh, I've also been feeling that way. And we were talking about like working from home versus like going into office, or even having like a hybrid situation. I just think that we don't give enough credit to ourselves. And whether you are working from home or have a hybrid, or you go into the office every single day, it can become redundant, right? Like, this is our life. And since the month of January, it doesn't really have like a major holiday. Like, what really, for me, like, I haven't celebrated anything in January besides the new year. It's kind of like a reset month. Like, everyone's just trying to get their bearings. A lot of people don't have the extra funds to spend, right? Like, if you spent a lot of money on gifts or trips during the holidays, like December is a really heavy month to spend money, right? Like, there's just so much going on. January is normally the month that people buckle down. They're not spending the money like they usually do, or even like a normal amount of spending, because they're trying to pay off their credit card, or they're trying to save money because they have New Year's resolutions. Diets, like everyone going on a diet the first of the year, or a dry January. Like, everyone is working on themselves one way or another, but it kind of feels isolated in January, because I mean, we went from Thanksgiving, or like November, December, having so many events, being so family focused, to January, everyone's kind of wiped out. Everyone's tired, everyone's struggling and trying to get their, bearings. And it was just so good to hear that I am not alone in this, and that it's okay for me to feel a bit tired and feel like I need extra rest. I think we should make sure that if January is feeling like January, or winter is feeling like winter, because we are going into February very soon. Like, February is this Thursday. I honestly, like, I cannot believe it. It's like February is just around the corner. I've seen so many like cute Valentine's Day, like balloons and candies and everything in the stores right now. The outfits, oh my gosh, like all of the sweaters. It's so cute. But again, that's in February, and that's still 2 weeks away. 2 weeks away from Valentine's Day. And January has just been long. It has been so long, and you can feel tired, and that's okay to feel tired. And you also don't have to necessarily have any like big extracurricular activities. And I think something that is also kind of overwhelming is everything having to be like a big event, like everything having to be like it's planned out, and we have to have matching outfits, and we have to have decor. Like, that's also tiring. And I could see how if you have like a full month of all of this, like when you get into January, or a month where you don't have as much planned, you're just like emotionally wore out. Like, I'm slowly getting my color back. There's and I don't have a baby, so it's like similar but different. But they talk about how, not pelicans and not swans, what the heck are they called? The pink flamingo. Flamingos, when they have their children, or their babies, when they lay their eggs, when they're waiting for their little babies to hatch, they do not eat their like food. They stop eating shrimp, and shrimp is what gives them like their pink color. And so when they're like, laying on their nest, they're not getting the nutrients, they're not eating shrimp. And so the mothers lose the pink that, every single mug, pasted on, bag, I don't know, pink flamingos like everywhere, right? Like, and when they have their children, they lose their pink, and so they're more of like a grayish white. And they say, okay, like once their children have hatched and they're like running around, then they're showing them how to eat, and then they start to get their color back because they're no longer nesting. They're going out, they're eating shrimp, they're doing all the things. And I feel like I'm slowly starting to get my color back. I know I'm not pregnant, I know I'm not having a baby, but in the same way that a pregnant or a mother, because they're not pregnant, they lay eggs, but the same way a pink flamingo can lose its pink doesn't mean that it's no longer a pink flamingo. I'm pretty sure, okay, this might be ignorant, but a pink flamingo, isn't that it's like type, like a jaguar or like a black jaguar or a brown bear, like brown bear. Even if a bear loses all of its fur, it's still a brown bear, right? Because it's its type. A pink flamingo is still a pink flamingo, even if it stops eating shrimp and becomes like a little whitish, right? So just because you are not feeling like you are not going out and having the activities, you don't have the routine that you would love, or you just aren't feeling as energetic as you normally feel, that doesn't mean that you're not you, right? Like your essence hasn't changed, okay? A brown bear did not change just because it rolled in some mud or got its hair shaved, okay? Not that you would shave a brown bear, but I'm saying that is its genotype. That is who it is. A pink flamingo is a pink flamingo. So even if that pink flamingo loses its pink, you are still you. You are still the happy, vibrant, lively person that you were before winter. Or maybe, you know what, you've been in a slump for a while. And just because you're in a slump doesn't mean that you won't get back to who you were or being even better than who you were. Like, you will find the momentum. You will find the things that make you happy again. And I think that what has really brought it into light for me is to go out and chat with my friends, to have that community, to get outside of my regular routine. I think has been really good. Like I said several times in this episode, I feel like I've become a little bit complacent and I've just like not tried anything new. I've just been doing the same things that I've always been doing, or at least for the block of the past 5 or 6 months, because it has worked. It always works until it doesn't work. And right now it's been also dreary out. And I truly believe that the weather does influence your mood in some sort of way. Like if it's raining out, you immediately want to stay inside or like jump in puddles. Okay, and it can go either way, but the weather does make you feel some type of way. Weather. If it rains, and as a child you normally like went out and stomped the puddles, when it rains you're gonna get this joy and you're like, oh my gosh, like I've got to go out and stomp the puddles. If when it rains you want to just curl up with a good book and a little chamomile tea, like that's still making you feel some type of way. And the winter and the cold, my feet are always cold, and they're even cooler in the winter time. And so like if I'm inside, my feet are cold, all I can think about is my feet are cold. My feet are throbbing. I need to go put them in some hot water, or I need to turn on like my little foot heater. I need to consume something warm. That does not mean that it's going to be my forever. That's just how I'm feeling right now. And I want to be bundled up, and I don't want to go outside and have my feet get all cold because it's then outside, right? You're not going to feel this way forever. Maybe you have been feeling a little down with the winter blues, and you're not alone, okay? And it was so good just to chat with other people and think, oh my gosh, like it is not just me. It is everyone, and it is not good. It is not bad. It is just a feeling, and it is just a type of way that it's the moment, okay? It's a trend, if you will, and trends come and go, just like Pookie, just like, you know, feeling the reading, all the things. Like, you don't have to feel this way forever, and it will change, and that is comforting to know. I really do think that's comforting to just think, okay, like I might be feeling a little reclusive right now, and come summertime, like I love summer, I love to run around, but after a while, like I think just intuitively, like at the end of summer, I'm like, okay, like I'm ready for summer to be over. I'm ready for fall, and I'm ready to like cozy up and stay inside. It's natural, okay? We are one with nature, okay? So when it is summer, that's when our energy is going to be the highest. When it's fall, we're starting to get a little, cozied up. We are preparing for winter. When we're in winter, we are basically hibernating, okay? Like we're taking a little rest, and we are, preparing for spring. And then spring comes and we feel so much better. So don't feel bad. Do not feel like you are just stuck in this rut. We're all in this together. And honestly, like I think just in general, community has been so good for me. Last year, I was really focused around connection. I had a lot of big trips planned. And so that had me like looking forward to things and like making sure I was getting done with my stuff. So then I could, do other things. And I would say like vlogging has kept me consistent on like having some sort of routine. Of course, podcasting always has me consistent on a routine because I sit down with you guys twice a week and I hang out and I chat with you. So that definitely gets me out of bed. That definitely like gets me moving and here. Vlogging is something new that I haven't tried before. But trying to get a video up on Tuesdays and Saturdays, that is a goal, and it definitely gets me motivated and definitely like tries to get me together. The Golden Gal Network is another safeguard that I have for myself. Our next event is February 10th. We're having a Galentine's Day. We're making charm necklaces, okay? Charm necklaces, they're so cute. And also, I think we're moving into a more like custom era. Like we're kind of over everything being like so neutral and also like no personality. I think we're going into like more personal things. So a charm necklace, like I'm really excited to make a little charm necklace that is completely mine. Like I didn't buy it in a store. Of course I bought a charm in the store, but I didn't lay out the charms. Like nobody can purchase this. Of course you could probably recreate it, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's one of a kind. I made it. I pushed together the little pieces of metal and all the things, but having an event once a month has been really good for me. Making sure that I'm going out and talking to people, because I do work from home and I am cooped up inside. And of course I talk to my dogs and I talk to my husband, but it's good to get with the gals. It's good to get outside, reconnect with maybe some friends that you haven't connected to for a while. Reach out to an old friend. Like personally, one of my very longest best friend, Andrew, him and his wife live in Florida. So I planned a trip back in November, maybe it was October. I don't know. Southwest was having all of the sales. So I booked a flight for February, and we're coming up on that February trip. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is so exciting. I have not been on a trip they've been living in Florida, so it's not necessarily like a trip for them, but it's a visit for me. Like I get to go hang out with them, and I'm really looking forward to it. So that's something that is getting a little pep in my step. Like I'm getting closer to going and visiting Rachel and Andrew. Maybe plan a little trip with your friends. Maybe plan a little gals night like Kennedy did, where we diamond painted. Like I'm definitely getting into the hobbies right now. I'm reading the books. I have ordered a puzzle. Oh, I'm so excited to do a puzzle. Like I love watching TV and I love watching movies, but I always feel like my attention needs to be diverted to something else. And in the past, I've been on my computer and I've been like working on my podcast or working on, something that is still work. It's not like completely relaxation. And I think a puzzle would help me do that. So I'm getting into my puzzle era. Definitely just like taking the time to do something with my hands and do something that is just going to make me completely happy and not stress me out, right? Like something fun and light. So that is your homework for this week. What can you incorporate or find that is just fun and light and different completely out of your routine, something that you have not done before or haven't done for a while, like it is completely okay to like reignite something that you haven't done for a while. Like I'm all here for that as well. But find something that is out of your routine that you haven't done for a while, just for you, just to make you happy, just to make you smile, and kind of take you out of this like January dread, like, because I've been feeling it too. And I know a lot of you have also been feeling it. So order a puzzle, order diamond painting, get a new book. Like I said, I read First Fly Wins. So if you want a book to read, that might be a great book for you to read. Also, I'm on Goodreads. So why don't you go follow me? Let's be friends. Logan Lee Miller. Check it out. I will follow you back. That is it for this week. Thank you so much for listening or watching wherever and whatever platform you are on. I will see you in the next one.